Wait, for a moment, did you actually think that this was going to be another of those boring PowerPoints? That too with a Comic Sans font? Wait, isn't that pronounced Comic Sans font? Hi everyone, I am Rituraj and I am a master student here enrolled in MA Moving Image. I used to be an honor student here as well, back in 2009, when I used to look something like that. I know, right? I am from Nepal. This is a typical Nepalese cap, and this, of course, is not a traditional Nepalese beard. The last time I was here, I made a documentary film on Bhutanese refugees from Bhutan who lived in refugee camps in eastern Nepal for close to 2 decades, and then were resettled in various parts of the world, in different countries, including here in New Zealand. And then after my honors, I went back home to Nepal, where I worked on certain documentaries in some rather interesting conditions. Those 40,000 views are all organic. Well, maybe 1,000 of those are my own. After that, I taught for a few years in a film school in central India, where I taught television production, video editing, argumentation, and I also guided my students on their documentary film projects. Years passed, and then I realized I was too young to be a lecturer, and I wanted to go back to being a student. And that brings me to WIntec and to my first critique. Well then, what am I studying here at WIntec? I want to analyze directorial and cinematography techniques, develop on my own direction and cinematography, and apply these in the making of my own film. So my year-long research and practice will culminate in the making of a short film, the concept note of which you're holding in your hands right now. Printed, of course, on both sides of the paper because environment. I will be working as director and cinematographer in my own film. Ambitious. Sounds ambitious, I know, until I tell you that I'm also scripting and editing my own film. Nut job, I know. Challenging, possible, and challenging. The contextual analysis for my project involves looking at a very wide range of work. Over the past few months, I've been looking at numerous films. It's not as much fun as it sounds when you have to make notes while watching them. I've been categorizing them by genre, by director, by cinematographer, by country, really trying to identify and analyze technique and style. I'm also helped in my research by books on cinematographer style, on filmmaking practices, and interviews of filmmakers. I also refer a lot to behind the scenes videos, films about filmmaking, cinematographer style, and filmmaking style. Now this field of research has got to narrow down. Since I'll be working as a director and cinematographer on my own film, I will also be looking a lot at filmmakers who worked as cinematographers on their own films. Like who? There aren't too many of them, but there are a few. And a lot of filmmakers who are today famous once also shot their own films. And I'm also looking at people who have worked both as cinematographers and directors and trying to analyze the influence of either role on the type of work they produce. But I'm making a short film, and hence I'll be looking more at short films, filmmakers who make short films, or directors who started their careers by making short films, and deconstruct and analyze them in the same way as I'm doing with the feature films. God, these paper sheets are expensive as. And so to narrow it down, these are my research questions. Of course, I could well have read those questions out to you, but I shot this video over the last weekend when they were not finalized yet. Or actually, I'm shooting the video right now. Wait, did I just refer to my future in the past tense for shooting in my present? And how am I going to go about doing what I really want to do? Well, we have already talked about the part where I spent more time watching films than doing anything else, like shaving, for example. Like I said, I start out by identifying and analyzing cinematic style, but of course that's all just pointless until I am able to actually put it into practice. Over the course of my year, I will be practicing and developing cinematic style and technique by shooting various short films, more like very short films or rather single scenes, where I try different stuff like shooting a one-shot film, and I've already developed a screenplay for such a thing. Shooting with available light or natural light, shooting with minimal lighting, shooting with mixed lighting, and so on and so forth. I can thus develop these techniques, build upon my skills, and implement them in the making of my own film. I intend to start off by converting my story into a screenplay, work on the characterization, the dialogues, and start developing a working script by my second critique. I intend for my principal photography to be around July, and then work on the post-production, which will include editing, color grading, and other such exercises as my film may require. Over the years, filmmaking has seen many technical advancements, and these changes affect the process of filmmaking as well as the personnel involved in filmmaking. The way we shoot, edit, process, and project films is changing, and we are living through such a change. And so for my dissertation, I want to look at the influence of technology on filmmaking practices and practitioners. Over the past few years, I've been working on a number of documentaries, short films, student projects, and multi-camera productions. I would like to think that I've been practicing my craft with a certain degree of professionalism and a good aesthetic sense, that I've been able to practice good composition, been able to control and adjust to the light in my shots. And it is these skills that I want to further develop and apply to my research project here in WIntec. I will leave you with a few videos that I have shot over the past few years, and I'll welcome your feedback and questions after we finish viewing them.